Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. I just finished reading The Long Road to Freedom, Nelson Mandela's biography. From his birth in 1918 in Transkei in rural South Africa to the time when he became president of South Africa in 1994. Amazing journey. Highly recommend the book. I think Nelson Mandela was uniquely situated to guide the country of South Africa from an apartheid reality to a post-apartheid reality, from a very segregated, racially determined country to a non-racial country with a real future. One only had to look to Zimbabwe in the north to see what South Africa could become. And many eyes cast their vision to the north. Robert Mugabe ruled the country for 38 years in total. He essentially bankrupted the nation through his own greed and desire for revenge, his own commitment to oppressing his enemies, black and white. One can only imagine if South Africa had been placed in the hands of a Robert Mugabe, what South Africa's future would have looked like. No, Mandela comes out, he leads the nation in a very different direction, and it only cost him 27 years in jail. What do you think, 27 years in jail for the future of 58 million people? Mandela certainly lost a great deal. He lost a relationship with his wife, with his two daughters who were 3 and 1 when he went to jail. He didn't embrace his daughters for over 25 years. He didn't get a chance to hug them and to give them a kiss for 25 years. He lost connection with family and friends, a chance to build a future, a career. He says that he lost the richest and best years of his life in jail. Is that a fair trade for the future of 58 million people? Nick Stengel, who helped Mandela write his autobiography and who spent 18 months with Mandela every day, says that Mandela was bitter about those wasted years in jail. I mean, Mandela understood that these 27 years were critical, gave him a public profile. He became the face of black liberation. It also changed him personally. He mentions about the fact that he came out of jail self-disciplined, focused, committed to a cause greater than himself. He came out as a statesman, able to guide others and lead them in the right direction. Yet nonetheless, there was sorrow in Mandela's heart for what he had lost. In his family, in his friends, in his career, in his life, in the enjoyment of his life. And I say again, is 27 years in jail and all that goes with it equal to the freedom and future of 58 million people? I'm not sure one can really answer that question. I do know that there's no way of escaping the sorrow of life. You know, that we're all in our own ways locked in a kind of prison. And certainly we live in a reality of suffering that can lead to sorrow, and sorrow is a part of life whether we like it or not. It's certainly true that sorrow will deepen us, but it doesn't always make us a better person. We can be made into bitter, defeated people through the sorrows and the suffering that goes with it. We can also come out deepened in such a way that our hearts have been carved out in with the space for God's love for others. I mean, God uses the sorrow of our lives and the space that it creates in our hearts in ways that are the most remarkable one can imagine. God can take people of sorrow and use them as instruments of love and peace and joy in the world. I don't know what Nelson Mandela's adult faith was like, but he was steeped in a Christian upbringing. His orientation in his life as an adult was certainly Christ-centered in application, in action. And he committed himself to a greater cause, and he changed the future of a whole nation and influenced people way beyond South Africa. You know, those of us who follow Jesus have committed ourselves to embracing the sorrows of life with the knowledge and the commitment and the understanding that they open up our hearts, make our hearts open and large so that we can receive the blessing of God's holy love into us. And with that wonderful pulsating life of God in us, that love, that holy love in us, we can now become committed to the cause greater than ourselves of bringing about God's great way of love and life and freedom on earth. I certainly committed myself to that practice, and I trust that God can use all the contingent circumstances of my life, all the tough circumstances, all the places that bring suffering and the obvious sorrow that flows from it. God can take those places and use it for good. I simply need to hand over my heart and my hands to God and allow the sorrows to carve out in me a heart big enough to hold heaven's way, and then let that heaven's way shine through me to the blessing of the world.